Are we there?
We're live. I think I got here before we went live.
Before we get started with our pre-show today, relationships. How to understand and enhance your relationship with your spouse, your clients, and perhaps most importantly, yourself. That is today. I'm Brian&Carrie in the morning, which we'd like to now welcome you to.
I am so excited for this topic because as anybody knows, and Brian knows, this is like one of my favorite topics.
It is. We've actually done, programs and consulting and coaching.
Yeah.
With people in relationships. And if you can tell, we're on a bit of a new backdrop. We're going to come at you every day. We're going to come at you most days. Okay. With Brian&Carrie in the morning from a different angle of our house.
I love it.
So I see Michelle Adams is here.
Good morning,
There's
Michelle.
a lot of people here. Say hello. And tell us if the volume is good, because we're a little farther away from the mic today. I think it's going to be absolutely fine.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good because we got a boom mic up on top.
We got a boom mic.
I just want to say a couple
Good morning,
things.
Sandy.
This is a really cozy spot for me.
Yeah.
Mind you, I'm like 5'0", so I can curl up into a ball.
Good morning, Kristen Mahone-Johnson. She said good morning to the crew. I love that.
Good morning.
Michelle says the sound is good. I also just want to point out where we are. We are in our second-story great room. The actual studio we usually use for Brian&Carrie in the morning is right over there. But there's a big, monstrous fireplace behind you. There's a bathroom back there. If you got to go, it's just right there. It's all good. Our kitchen's over yonder. Our 26-foot window that faces the beautiful Mount Tremblant is right there. So this is kind of where we cozy up and read and spend some time in the evening.
I want to say that I think that window's bigger than 26 feet.
It's very possible. I'd like to do a show in front of that window, like right in front of it one day, but it's going to be hard to light.
Yeah, we would be really, really orange because we'd have to get the lights up close.
We'd be trumping it.
I just want to, first of all, a shout out to Dexter K-Free.
Oh, right on.
Who I have not seen your name before, so welcome to the show.
Dexter,
this is your first time
don't
joining
recognize
us.
your name. Please let us know where you are in the world. And thank you for letting us know the volume is good.
And and Cecily Casey.
Yes.
I was going to send you a message just this morning because I was putting my makeup on, and makeup's a very meditative time for me.
Tis.
And for whatever reason, I was thinking about how I felt like I haven't seen Cecily for a while.
She was here yesterday.
Well, but last week. And I realized that could have just been me not seeing you.
It's very possible.
Or you were just at the top of my mind this morning.
Absolutely.
So good morning, Cecily.
Quick reminder, relationships, how to understand and enhance your relationship with your spouse, your clients, and yourself. So if you are watching Brian&Carrie in the morning for self-discovery, self-awareness, relationship with yourself. If you're watching this for business and business growth, relationships with your clients, and if you're watching this for your marriage, your parenting, your relationship with your girlfriend or boyfriend, relationships with your spouse, we got you covered. Right here on Brian&Carrie in the morning. That monitor is going to have to move closer because I got to start liking stuff. And I want to say salut.
There. Is that
yes.
good? Can we put you, so if we're looking down now.
If we're looking down, it's just because of the monitor. Salut to Gerald. Great atmosphere, says Kristen. Cecily, Dana Powell, Mona. Dexter's in Atlanta, Georgia. I've never been.
I love Georgia.
I've never been. Georgia. I think I flew through it one time. But you see the airport, that's all you see. Robin Camley and Shivas. Look at this. Kristen Mahone-Johnson is stoked about today's topic. Me too.
Well, Kristen commented, I believe she commented last week on actually a post that I put out with regards to relationships. So,
sorry, Connie is here. I didn't say hi to Connie.
Hi, Connie.
Good morning,
Hi,
Connie.
everybody.
Connie's a great witch. But everyone thinks I was just offensive, but I wasn't. No. She's awesome.
She's
a witch.
It's a little known fact here.
Yes.
Sometimes during the pre-show, I feel like I have so much to say, I don't even know where to go. But
right.
little known fact is Brian and I actually did some study with Connie a couple years ago in Wiccan practices. We wanted to just kind of learn more about it and understand it.
Yes, it was not very long, unfortunately, because our schedules changed, which is a great teacher.
Yeah.
And again, I want to point out, we are lifelong learners. We don't really myopically look at anything. I mean, over the years, formally, I've studied pastoral counseling. Carrie is a licensed counselor, so there's formal study. I have a degree in exercise science. We've worked in the fitness and sport performance industries. We're definitely mindset specialists, neurology, etc. But religion, spirituality, they're bread and butter of our interests. So we look at all of it. I love to look at Zennism and Wicca and Christianity and Islam and Judaism and absolutely Hindu, everything you could possibly think.
Yeah, it was a great
Connie's
time.
a great mentor in that
We enjoyed
respect.
it a great deal. And I want to give a shout out.
I just said Connie was a great teacher, just as she wrote, I am. But what she was saying I am to is that she's a witch.
A witch, yeah. I also want to give a shout out to Gerald Leblanc.
Yes.
And Louise Mona Fournier.
Who's watching on her treadmill.
Who you don't know, they're actually a couple.
I didn't know that.
I told you last night, but I didn't give you names. And we welcomed them last night to the Achieve the Goals You Set program. They're going to be with us for the 4 weeks.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be so much fun.
So if you are not part of this Achieve the Goals You Set program and 4-week free coaching, get on that.
Should we give them one more day?
AchieveTheGoalsYouSet.com. I'm opening up for one more day. Come on, people.
There you go.
This is 4 weeks of us for free, intimately coaching you. That alone is worth the price of admission. But you also get the personal journal, the daily reader, access to all the instructional videos, the 3 audios for the Art of Silence meditation tracks. This is like epic.
It is.
Dramatic pause. Epic. Good morning, Chris Goldowski. Mama Draps. Lynette wants to know from Connie about the difference between witches and angels. Witches are awesome. I know that. What were you going to say?
I was going to say I'm an angel.
You're both. You're both in a good way.
I didn't really know where
Hold
I was
the phone.
going.
Liz Gillinger is here.
Good morning, Liz.
Liz Gillinger and Chris Goldowski. Mm-hmm. And maybe Michelle Adams, because we've talked to Michelle Adams. They are part of an elite covert group. It's true. It's called the Platinum Crew.
They're part of the
Liz Gillinger, Chris, and Kelly Goldowski were all at our Spain retreat 2 months ago.
Yeah.
About 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And our next retreat, which is up here in the beautiful Mount Tremblant, Quebec, Liz, Chris, and Kelly are all going to be here. That means they are part of the elite special forces.
Sorry.
Of the Platinum Crew. What does that mean? Liz, Chris, Kelly, you get some pretty epic shit.
And we're not going to tell you
what it is, but you get some pretty epic shit when you get here in October. So Michelle Adams, hi. Get your ass up here.
Oh, we're going to make it work with Michelle.
Yes.
I know it. So I want to say a couple of things. First of all, yesterday, everybody gave us such well wishes because we were under the weather yesterday.
Yes.
Still a little bit of recovery going on for me this morning, I have to admit. But I want to tell a funny story.
Chris says, yes, I've gone platinum. Okay, before you go, I'm so sorry. I make it my business to do this. We have about 3.5 minutes left in today's pre-show. So if you're joining us, today's show is all about relationships, how to understand and enhance your relationship with your spouse, your clients, and yourself. That gets rolling when we go live in about 3.5 minutes. So stick around. There's a whack of people here.
There's a ton of people here.
Yes.
So I want to tell a little story about this morning, and you're going to laugh because...
Chris Goldowski's just funny.
Chris, stop being funny.
I'm
Because
Platinum
every time you're
Stardust.
funny, he interrupts my story. But that was funny. I'm Platinum Stardust.
Yes, and Billy, I haven't said good morning to Billy or Tiffany Maxim.
Good morning, everybody.
Guys. Yes.
So this morning I woke up and I was feeling, well, whatever. I'm just going to say it. I'm PMSing, so I'm bloated and I'm not feeling like necessarily great.
Yeah. She looks okay though.
How many times did I change my clothes this morning?
6.
6 times. Like, there is currently clothes everywhere, and it had nothing to do with like what I wanted to look like on TV. It had everything to do with what the clothes felt like when I put them on. And can you relate to that? You put something on and you're just like, oh my gosh, get it off. So
that's why she went for the Jane Fonda workout 80s look today.
That happened this morning, but so I ended up in my Wonder Woman pants.
Yes.
See?
Nice shot of the feet too.
And ever since I put them on though, now like, I feel more like alive with Wonder Woman energy.
Couple things. Yoli, good morning. Lisa Arso's watching during physio. Brian&Carrie, by the way, who had a Wicca wedding ceremony, which is pretty badass.
I love that.
She says, Carrie looks just okay, BG. Come on. I'm with you. And yes, Jessica says, I relate to that.
Because it's annoying.
Karen Roberts says, love the pants. Yes. Yes. Michelle Adams has gone through her entire wardrobe and not been satisfied. She gets it.
Right?
Robin says, best pants ever.
You know,
I'm excited.
I like that it's the women's time, Ian, but men, can you relate? Because I know you can.
I can relate. This is why I wear the same shit all the time.
Because it's comfortable.
Because it's comfortable. No, but you know what? Can I tell you something? This is my question of the day. I want yeses, nos, and or hearts. Okay, you have to answer if you're here.
Question of the day.
Fucked Up Friday this week. Hashtag FUF. You know what I want to do? I want to do a fashion show. Let us set up the camera in the bedroom downstairs.
Yes.
I will talk for 3 minutes while Carrie goes in the closet and changes and shows you how she mixes and matches. And then I'll go do the same. We'll just kind of go off. You talk for 3 minutes, I'll change. I talk for 3 minutes, you change. We'll show you the versatility. Yes. I only have like 6 t-shirts, 3 pairs of pants, but I'll show you the versatility of how I can make it work. Wedding, funeral, business meeting, casual, gym, how we can make it all work. Do you guys want to see that?
Yes. You know what we should do is we should pick one staple item.
I thought, Connie, you said penises are awesome, but you said pants are awesome.
Penises.
So, wow, where's my head?
I love this idea. And
yes.
can I add, like, I want to say, like, we should have to pick one staple item. Like your pants, for example.
Nice.
You can't change your pants. You have to keep your pants on.
I have to keep my pants on?
You can take your pants off. It's okay
yes.
with me. And then go like that.
Yeah, people want to see it. Kristen Mahone Johnson wins comment of the day so far. Fashion Week at the Mountain.
Y'all
yes.
Y'all don't know this, but I worked for a fashion magazine for a period of time.
It's true.
It's kind of in my warehouse right now.
Yes. Right. Awesome fashion show, says Billy Reuter. Ha penis, says Jessica. Love her. Fashion Week. Everyone's saying yes to this.
Woohoo!
Chris Goldowski has rebranded it. Hashtag FUFF. Fucked Up Fashion Friday.
Yes.
I'm with you. Okay, this is happening.
Great idea. We're doing it.
I have great ideas.
I love
and
it.
with my great ideas, let me say good morning. Welcome to Brian and Carrie in the Morning. Today is all about relationships, how to understand and enhance your ever-evolving relationship with your spouse, your clients, and yourself. So self-discovery, business, relationships, we've got you covered across the board on today's show. We are live 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern is when we go live with the show. But 9:50 is when our pre-show happens, and that's when all the fun is. Mm-hmm. So get here at 9:50. If you know us, if you trust us, if you like us, you know that we are going to earn your share today. So with that, we humbly supplicate to you and say, please, my friends, give us a share right now.
Great word, supplicate. I love that word.
Woo!
And I want to add.
Jeff Patton says no. Jeff Patton's an ass.
I'm going to give you another reason to share this video. Because we are talking about relationships today, and yes, we're going to talk about all the relationships in all the forms. I'm gonna probably hone in a little bit more on spousal relationships, like partnership relationships, romantic relationships. And I want to say this: it is one of the most not talked about relationships. Like we can all say like the divorce rate is crazy, but yet, oh heaven forbid, we talk to somebody about our marriage issues or our relationship challenges because then everybody's going to think something and be judgmental. So we are going to like blow the door open on relationships and what you need to know from a very honest place.
And Jessica says you guys are the best to listen to while cooking up a storm, and she reminded me that today's show kicks off like this. Where's my crew at?
Crew!
Woo!
Crew!
Yes, I want to hear some crews. I want to see some crews. So, relationships.
Yeah.
Kick us off, Carrie.
Yeah, okay, so you can interrupt me at any point in time because you know. Okay, so I want to say, you know, last week where this conversation kind of started for us over the last 2 weeks is we've had a couple conversations with some of our clients who have found themselves in situations where their relationship, which was originally, you know, what I would say, you know, doing really great, on a little bit of a, you know, an uneven surface, thin ice, right? So, you know, we got some messages where people are like, whoa, like, you know, what's going on?
Right.
You know, like this kind of incident happened, or this incident happened, or I was in the doghouse and I didn't really know what to do with it. That's number one.
Yeah.
The second reason that I want to talk about this topic is because oftentimes we have people who come to us who are struggling in relationships.
Yep.
And they say to us exactly this: can I create change in my relationship? And this applies to all relationships.
Yes.
If the other party is not on board. If the other party isn't doing this with me, isn't doing the coaching with me.
Sure.
And my answer to that question, our answer is always yes, absolutely, right? You can definitely create change. And we have some crazy stories about that we can share.
Absolutely.
But for me, what it all comes down to is you have to appreciate that every single relationship that you are in is a dance. It really is. It's a dance between two people. And that's where we make the mistake in relationships, by pointing fingers outward and saying it's this person, they need to change. No, they don't. Yep. You both need to create change, because there is no interaction in any relationship that happens without this mutual energetic dance of some sort. Yeah. Right? So if you think about your relationship as a dance, well, number one, you change the steps. What's going to happen? The dance is going to change. Right.
The rhythm gets all fucked up.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. That is the perfect example for the couples who are struggling with some changes. The other thing, if you are in a relationship and want to create change, but your partner's not necessarily in the same place with you, well, you change the dance steps. What's going to happen? Right. The pattern is going to change. The dance is going to change, right? Sure. And for me, the whole dance analogy is so important, because I think a relationship is a dance. Absolutely. And I think that it puts a beautiful feeling around something that a lot of people hide behind and don't talk about.
Agreed 100%. Now, if you're digging what Carrie's saying and you're excited for this topic, you want to hear more as it relates to your spouse, your relationship, your clients, even yourself, give us some hearts, give us some comments. Are you digging this so far? Billy Reuter says, yes, absolutely loving the dance metaphor. So does Kristen Mahone-Johnson. I love the dance analogy. Karen Roberts, Lynette, everyone's loving that. So let me add to it briefly. Okay, so here's my brief interlude, because this really is a Carrie Campbell wheelhouse of a topic. But here's one thing I want to add to the commentary that I think is really, really, really important. It speaks to our history, okay? Can I make a change in my relationship if my husband or wife is not involved in the process? Our answer is yes, you can. But our answer is also, you probably need to.
Right.
That's the key. Like, there are too many couples who think everybody in the equation has to be on the same page in order to create change. And that's almost never the case. Right. Because we get ego, we get defensive, we get a lot of things that, look at, change is a very challenging thing for a lot of people. I would say most people have a very difficult time changing, right? When you get used to the rhythm, you get used to the steps. Maybe your body aches a little bit because it's the same shit over and over again. You feel some discomfort in your feet because they keep plotting the same steps, but at least you know the rhythm. You know the steps, and so you find comfort in that, right? People try not to dislodge from comfort, and comfort can be your greatest enemy. So let me say this, okay? In our 7 years together, Carrie has catalyzed me to change more times than I can count. And I think, humbly, I have probably created a catalyst for Carrie to change more times than she can count. And how did we do that? How did we make that happen? Here's the advice that nobody likes talking about, okay? A relationship is not a two-headed monster. Carrie is an independent, strong, brilliant woman who is best for me and with me when she is the greatest version of herself. Right. I like to think of myself as a wonderful, strong, confident man who I am the best for my wife and my kids, and therefore the best for myself when I am the best version of myself. So somebody has to change the steps. And when that person changes the steps, their obligation is to not tug and pull and make their partner dance with them. It's to go and just dance a new dance, a beautiful, brilliant dance that is mesmerizing and captivating, and it makes me want to say, I want some of that. That's how it's done.
Absolutely. You know, I mean, I'm going to give you a perfect example. I'm actually going to give you a real life example from our history with this. But I want to say this because it's so important. And you all know I'm right. Neither one of you wants to be wrong. You both want to be right. So what happens is you stick your heels in the ground. Because, no, they need to change. No, I'm not the one who's the problem. They're the one who's the problem. If they stop doing this, then I would stop doing this, and then this would stop happening, and then no. That's what happens. Like, give me some yeses, I can relate if you agree with that. That is what happens.
Thank you, by the way, Connie, Kristen. People are amening what I wrote. So thank you very much to that.
So if you can relate to that, okay? Well, what we have to do is we have to first stop that dance. We have got to step out of ego. We have got to stop having this need to be right. If you have a need to be right, you should not be in the relationship you're in. End of story.
Fair.
And if whether that's with your boss, whether that's with a friend, whether that's with your partner, because that need to be right is going to continue to back you up against the wall.
Yes.
Right? So we have got to learn how to step out of ego and then say at the core of all of this, and when we went through this on our own, for us at the core of it all was that what mattered more than being right was that we loved each other.
That is the heartbeat.
Really and truly.
And if the love dies, okay, now we have a problem. But at the core, I love my wife.
Right. And if you can come back to that, the need to be right fades away. And that doesn't mean that you don't go into deep conversations and you talk about, okay, well, that what just happened, it kind of hurt me. That's an evolution, right? But we've got to take our heels out of the ground, number one.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to give you 2 rules for taking your heels out of the ground.
Yeah.
And before I do, I want to say this. You're getting yeses from Jennifer O'Call. Good morning, love. Absolutely yes from Connie. Amen from Papa Draps. Amber. I mean, people are loving what you have to say. So I love that. Can I give you my quick 2 rules?
Yeah, I want to see if they're mine.
For how you take your heels out of the ground?
Yeah.
Number 1, don't complain. Complaining. Look, if I could give you one magic wand, and in that one wand, which Connie could probably build for us, right?
Sorry.
For reals.
Yeah.
Okay? In that magic wand, it had the one thing, our secret sauce that has delivered us from so much pain and so much challenge and so much overcoming obstacles, and it's made life so easy, it would be that. Don't complain. Don't let yourself complain. Don't do it. Bring self-awareness to the equation. When you open your mouth, if you're pissed about the weather, your learning disability, your lack of funds, your bad back, your lot in life, what just happened to your son, if you're going to complain, don't. That is rule number 1 for how to get your heels out of the ground.
Yep.
Rule number 2, look in the mirror. The second thing I don't ever do is blame my wife anymore.
Yep.
Okay, we had challenges like everybody else. The day we decided to stop complaining and stop making the other person responsible is the day we took accountability for our own happiness, our own freedom, our own love, and it worked.
Yeah.
2 rules. Don't complain.
Yep.
On Facebook, on Twitter, in conversation, don't complain.
Yep.
And number 2, okay, take accountability.
Yep.
It is not Carrie's responsibility for whatever happened. My ego thinks it is, but I'm in charge.
Yeah,
my ego's not.
And I'm going to add a number 3, and then I'm actually going to illustrate 2 examples from the original part where we started this today. But my number 3 is get on the same page.
Yes.
I think that this is so important. So number 1, listen very closely. You cannot get on the same page when you're in ego.
It's not possible.
You are not going to be able to have the conversation about getting on the same page when you're in ego. You have to have it in a moment of time that you guys are both, feeling relaxed and happy and joyous, and you can actually talk about the evolution of your relationship. Because so many people try to work on their relationship when they're fighting.
Yes.
That's not the time to work on your relationship, right? So I always tell people, literally sit down and schedule a time to go and have a conversation that is not mired in negativity, number 1.
Yeah.
In that time frame, essentially decide what your page is as a couple. And what I mean by that is so Brian and I, one of the ways that we kicked ourselves out of ego back then was we had that center point of we're a team, we got to come back together and love. And that was the top of the mind thing, right?
Always.
So when ego kicked in and we recognized the signs, and sign number 1 is you're doing the back and forth, that's when you need to stop and come back and get on the same page.
We are riddled with comments. So I got to pause you. This is going to be one of those episodes that I love.
Yeah.
Where we stop for periods of time and acknowledge people, okay? So Kristen Mahone Johnson, both of those pieces of advice should be applied across the board in life everywhere. Yes, don't complain and take accountability. I could not agree more. Jeff Patton, I love this comment. It drives me nuts that so many of the men I am surrounded by complain about their wives. I have never complained about my wife. Me neither. Love your fucking wife. Yeah. Men, love your fucking wife.
And husband.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. But I'm speaking to the testosterone-laden people out there who love to call their wives my queen, but don't actually fucking treat them like a queen. Okay? Do you know where I'd be if it wasn't for Carrie Campbell? 6 feet under. That's where I'd be. Or lost, or depressed, or half of the man I am. Love your fucking wife and get your ego out the door. But here's the one I really want to focus on. Ann Shibis, how do you practice stepping out of your ego? we're going to spend 30 seconds on this because Anne's involved in our 4-week program.
She is, absolutely.
And you're involved in our 4-week program. So we're going to talk a lot about this. We've mentioned it before. This is powerful. This is Brian&Carrie 2.0. This is like advanced shit, okay? Your ego comes at you in 4 ways. In your self-talk, so your thoughts, how you feel emotionally, how you how you feel physically, and the behaviors you keep. When my self-talk started blaming Carrie, I was an ego. When my emotions were anxiety, frustration, and anger, I was an ego. When my behavior pulled me away from Carrie, I left. I walked outside. I needed to be in a different room than her. I was an ego. When my neck started, and Anne's an osteopath, and you know this stuff. The mind-body connection is so rich. When my neck and traps got really tight and sore, I was an ego. Those are the 4 things you measure ego by. Bring more self-awareness to those 4 things, you can get out of it really fast. Okay, sorry. You go on, Karen. There's been so many. Tammy's here.
This is amazing.
Woo!
Tammy, I'm assuming we're talking Tammy Montfinesse. Hello,
yes.
Tammy. Okay, so I want to stick with one of the 2 examples I gave at the beginning. The first one was what happens when, as a couple, or in a relationship, I'm going to use couple, but you guys are all smart people. You can relate it to your boss or anything else, and Brian will probably chime in on that as well.
Absolutely.
But what do you do when, as a couple, you're growing and evolving? Right? So what happens is if I'm growing over, like I used to be a people pleaser and you used to be an overthinker and that garnered certain dance moves, so to speak, right?
Absolutely.
Well, what happens is if I'm learning how to not be a people pleaser and Brian's learning how to not be an overthinker, we're changing the dance.
Yes.
And I'm going to tell you exactly what that caused for us.
Yeah.
It caused a lot of stepping on toes.
Chaos.
It was.
Chaos.
It really was. Because, and I'm going to give an example as a people pleaser, right? So as a people pleaser, I basically, like 7 years ago, did whatever you wanted to do whenever you wanted to do it.
Yes.
Right? So Brian would say, let's go for dinner. I'd say, okay. Brian would say, let's do this in business. I'd say, okay, right?
Yep.
So he was conditioned by me as a people pleaser to basically expect that I'm going to say A and Carrie's going to say, okay. Right? So
that was my experience.
Right?
It's exactly my expectation.
I can't blame him for adopting that, that pattern of thought towards me because I was the one who was creating it, right?
Yes, absolutely.
But then I decided I am not going to be a people pleaser anymore. So on day 30, Brian asks me a question, let's go out for dinner, for example, and I say, no, you know what? I don't think so. And all of a sudden, he's like, what the fuck?
Overthinking and ego kicks in.
Right? And I started, so what happened was, as a people pleaser, I kind of stopped being a people pleaser in every way. So I moved and I changed all my dance steps before he had caught up.
Absolutely.
And it created a little bit of a shift, right?
It
So
sure did.
we just had to come back together and find kind of recreate the dance.
Well, and how did we do that? That's next. Right now, Zoe Morgan, I believe you said beautiful to my commentary about men loving their wives. So I don't recognize your name.
Welcome to the show.
If you're new, welcome. Please let us know where you are in the world. Thank you for that comment. Good morning to Christine Basista. I love Ariana Petalin Sisti, who is right here in Quebec.
I love it.
A good old friend of ours. Good morning. You had to see me running from my car to get on this show today. I fell up the stairs.
I could see her doing that.
I really hope we make it worth your while that you fell up the stairs. Speaking of worth your while, have we earned a share so far? I think we have. And we're going to do even more of that. So give us a share right now into your news feeds if you could. So let's keep going with this.
Oh, I thought you had something. Oh,
let's keep going with it. Like, what had to happen next?
Yeah.
Right? It's a huge key. You know what had to happen next? You have to learn how to have conversations. That's what has to happen next. You think, and I'm not like, Connie has been married for 40 years. And obviously successful in her marriage. Obviously successful because of a comment she made earlier that there's always room to grow and learn. That's a successful marriage. Kristen Mahone Johnson, they danced the fuck out of themselves when they were younger and they still do it every single day. Clearly successful. So when I say all of you, I'm not speaking to all of you,
right?
But I am speaking to I'd say maybe most of you. You think you communicate with your spouse right now, but you probably don't. Most of your communication is rote. It's the standards of what are you doing today? Good morning, have a good day.
Or it is complaining.
I love you. Or it's complaining. It's what do you want to do for dinner tonight? What should I get while you're gone? What about the kids report card? It's pretty rote stuff. And when it's not rote stuff, it's egos flaring at each other. We had to learn to communicate.
Yes.
So if you ever heard me talk about this or write about this, or either one of us for that matter, do you know what we started bookending our day with? Our relationship.
Yeah.
The first hour of our day, every day, starting, it was probably about 3 years ago now, the first 60 minutes of our day was spent journaling and talking. The last 60 minutes of our day, to this day, is spent counting our wins and talking.
Yeah.
We talk every single day. I tell my wife what I'm upset about, what I'm frustrated by. That doesn't happen very often, but it's a time where I can just be vulnerable, let down my guard, and say, you know what, this really bothered me today. It's never about Carrie. It's about this situation or that circumstance,
right.
and vice versa.
Yep.
You know, I've said this before. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Okay, I get it. Whatever. But you know what? We all share planet Earth. And I think it's about time that we need to stop creating divisions between men and women and start harmonizing the gender. You know what men should do more? They should try to understand a woman's menstrual cycle. Because it's not a fucking joke. It like, we have looked at the physiology, we have looked at the biology, we have looked at how it interrelates with the moon cycles. Men, you have no idea what your wives are going through. And you're not gonna know until you take a moment to talk and learn and listen. And you know what? When Carrie started revealing this stuff to me, I was aghast. I felt like the biggest shit in the entire world who hadn't supported my wife properly for the past 5 years. But it's because I was ignorant. I didn't know. Right? So these are things that matter. Talk. Carve out days. Steve and Tammy Montefinesse inspired me so much the other day. Yeah. When they're at their favorite brewery with their computers, and they posted a picture and said, "We're working on our life together." Do you realize how much you work in your life, but you don't work on your life? You work in your relationship, but you don't work on your relationship. Yeah. The day we started to communicate like real people, investigating and discovering each other and ourselves, is the day our relationship changed forever. Yeah, absolutely. Did that make sense? Was that like, did you like that? Did you pick up what I was laying down? I'd love to hear some comments on that.
I want to chime in really quickly here. Ariana says, how do you get your partner to have conversation? It's her biggest challenge. You know, this is where I want to say that I think that we have to learn to get creative and continually try new things, okay? Yeah. Because, you know, I want to say that there are patterns and reasons why people aren't great, quote unquote, at communicating, right? Yeah. It could be historical. I was a horrible communicator in our relationship, which is really funny because I'm a counselor. Yeah. But I had to learn how to talk to Brian, right? But you want to know where we started? He started talking to me.
Yes.
You know, because I
am a talker. I love to communicate.
So he would sit and he would talk to me for like 20, 30 minutes. And the first day, maybe I had 5 minutes to add to it. But he had no expectation that I was going to talk as long as him. Right. He had zero expectation of what I was going to bring to it. And lo and behold, that brought us to a place where now I would say it's fairly equal, the amount of conversation that goes on back and forth.
Absolutely.
So as opposed to looking to your partner and saying, I want to get my partner to communicate and converse, you start. You start the process, right? Which leads me to the second point of what I was going to make. But before I do that, do we want
Chris
to stop?
Goldowski, great comment. Our communication, Chris and Kelly, has shifted immensely over the past 12 plus months, which has created beautiful and powerful changes and listening with love, even after almost 26 years of marriage. You guys are my happy place.
Me too.
Chris and Kelly Goldowski are my happy place. You know what I'm going to do when you guys come in October? I'm going to get you both drunk. I'm going to get some like awesome bourbon and get you all drunk.
I can't wait for October.
That's what I'm thinking.
So I'm gonna go. I want to comment on the situation of what do you do if you're the only one who feels like you want to change in your relationship and the partner's not giving it your all. Okay, I'm actually going to use a real example from a client of ours who we had in the past. You know, I remember this. I mean, you're going to remember it. She came to a session. This was when we were working live, and she said to me, she goes, you know, she says, "Get me drunk. We'll get you drunk."
We're gonna get you drunk, babe. No worries.
Our client said to us, she's like, you know what? She goes like, you know, he doesn't get it. He won't change. I tell him all the time what he needs to do different, but he's not listening to me.
Right.
He. After 45 minutes of this, I said to this client, I said, are you aware of the fact that you're on the blame train?
Yeah.
You are on the blame train.
Yes.
You are making this all about him and not about you. So you want to create change in your relationship, we got to make it about you.
Go back to rule number 1 and 2. Stop complaining and take some accountability.
Right. And this particular client did exactly that. She you know, through guidance of coaching, she brought it back to her. And here we are, like they were on the verge of divorce.
Yeah.
And here we are 3 years later, and we received a private message from her a couple of months
that's
ago,
a long time ago, right?
that said to us, you know what, I continued to take care of me, and you know what's happened? Our relationship is better than it's ever been.
Right.
Number one. Number two, all the things I wanted from him, he's now offering me.
Yes.
But not because she pointed fingers at him, because she created the change first.
That's it. Because she created the change first. And how did she do that? She stopped complaining about her husband and she took some accountability. This all circles back.
Absolutely.
Stop complaining and take accountability is the single thread that's going to connect everything we talk about today.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, spousal, parenting, clients, yourself, whatever relationship we're going to talk about today, stop complaining and take some accountability is going to be the single thread that connects it all.
Absolutely.
So have we earned this share?
Yeah.
We've earned this share.
Who wants to hear if we were to tell you to do one thing starting today with your relationship to start making it better, an action step that you could do with your spouse, your friend, your boss, if you want to hear it, let us know, because I'm gonna give it out.
I love it. Brian Sackowitz is keeping count on it. He's like, we're over 50 live. Yeah, we've been over 60 live a few times today as well, Brian. So thank you, everybody. Tammy's all excited about some bourbon in October. Robin, you're awesome. Perfect timing, BG. My hubby's watching.
I love it. Hey,
welcome, Robin's hubby.
If you are watching for the first time today, if you have not said hey or shout out to us, please give us a hello. Hi,
Absolutely.
Brian and Carrie.
Yes. Let me just make one comment, because it's a very vulnerable comment by Jennifer McCall, who says, love this subject and really needed it today. I am the worst at communicating with my partner. All I do is yell, and I need to work on this. So my obvious answer is yes, of course, Jennifer. Yelling at somebody is something we want to work on, right? But let's bare bones. What does it mean to work on it? Okay? So, and because that's where it falls down. People know the fortune cookie.
Yeah.
And there's no shortage of experts in the world who love to give you the fortune cookie.
Right.
Don't yell.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you're a yeller, and that's what your history is and your conditioning, it's hard just to work on not yelling.
Right.
So, Jennifer, here's the thing. We have to bring self-awareness to your life. Okay? Carrie's great at phrasing this. Yelling is 100 miles an hour. Okay? It's the end point. It's the result. It's the outcome. It's 100 miles an hour.
Right.
It's your foot is already on the accelerator. But your speedometer went from 0 to 100 and you didn't notice it. What were your thoughts? What were you feeling emotionally? What were you feeling physically? And did your behaviors change? Because at 12 miles an hour, 37 miles an hour, these indicators are flooding into you. In the absence of self-awareness, we don't know they're there. All we know is that 100 miles an hour, we start to yell.
Absolutely.
So that is the answer. When it comes to how do I work on this, you become familiar with your ego. What does it tell you in your head? What does it make you feel emotionally? What does it make you feel physically? And how does it change your behaviors? That is 0 to 100.
Yep.
You know what I got great at? Stopping my ego at 2 miles an hour. That's why we don't fight.
Yeah.
Do we have challenges and obstacles and even disagreements like everybody else? Yes, because we're human. Do they ever, ever, ever become fights anymore? No. Because Carrie knows her ego and I know mine. I know when I'm getting there, I stop it.
Yep.
I recognize it. I'm aware of it. I'll even say to Carrie, you know what, Carrie? I just had some thoughts in my head that are getting mad at you. So let's stop what we're talking about right now and give me a hug.
Yeah.
Let's come back to the base of love.
That's taking your heels out of the ground.
That's taking your heels out of the ground.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's not complaining, and it's not blaming, it's taking accountability.
Absolutely.
That's how you create change.
You
all like that?
I also want to add to that with the 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, or miles an hour for those of you who are in the States. You know, for me, I used to recognize that, so when I got to the point where I was attacking you in some sort of verbal lashing of defense mechanism of myself and guilt and whatever, everything that had precipitated that was so benign, and I wouldn't even have noticed it. It was people pleasing.
Right.
And then people pleasing would lead to this undercurrent of resent that was there. I got really good at listening to my thoughts and being able to say, you know what, I'm feeling resent right now. And that's where I would cut it. And that's a 10 miles an hour zone, right? It changed everything.
You know what, these comments are killing me. Jennifer, you're very welcome. Megan Crutchley, I don't recognize your name.
That's Carrie Goldoff's wife.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Hello. The universe provides. Really needed this today. Having a hard time moving past old patterns in my relationship and it's a huge energy suck when we should be supporting each other. Absolutely. Teresa Hart, don't know if I recognize your name.
Welcome to the show,
Welcome, Teresa. Good tip, dating a hothead. I got you. We understand. Kristen Mahone Johnson, again, comment of the day. I equate the rise during an argument as the beginning of a roller coaster. Once you hit the top, it's all downhill. Once you hit 100 miles an hour, it's tough to slow down. Completely. Absolutely right, yes. Completely. Woo!
You know, and
where's my crew at?
Crew!
Dude!
Crew! And I want to add something. I am going to give you the one thing you can do today, starting today, but I want to add something because, you know, I think it was Teresa Hart who said she's dating a hothead, right? Now, I want to, and I don't think, Teresa, you're not, I'm not talking to you when I say this, okay? But like, I was married to an overthinker in the past and someone who got angry. And he was married to someone who was a people pleaser and would be defensive and blame oriented, right?
Yeah.
We were all something. We are all something. But I want to remind us all that none of us are really that. That is a product. The hothead, the yeller, the withdrawer, the person who lashes blames. We are all products of our experiences and that unconscious programming that we talk about all the time on the show.
100%.
Right? So go through the process that we talked about with regards to taking accountability and not complaining. It creates change.
Two things from me. Connie, great comment. Connie and her husband are using our journal, the Let's Eliminate Your Limits journal, individually, and my husband suggested we use another one for our relationship by examining our work together. Love. Everybody chimed in. They want to know your shit.
Yeah, okay.
What's your shit?
First of all, hi, Savannah. We miss you.
Hey, what's up, Savannah?
Hope you're doing well. So, yeah. So, you know, I want to say this. I think that, you know, Brian already alluded to this when he said that we complain a lot, you know. So, we talk about taking the garbage out and doing the dishes and doing that. But really and truly, if you think about a given day with your spouse, how often do we ever share the good shit?
Yes!
Really, like really,
right.
We spend probably 90% of our time nagging.
Drop the mic. Stop. Drop the mic.
Boom!
Prologue. That's beautiful.
So we spend 90% of our days with people complaining about what they're not doing right, what they're not doing enough of, and what they need to do more of, telling them they need to change.
Yes.
So let's change the conversation.
Exactly.
And let's change the conversation with an organized time. So we call it our one thing.
Yes.
Right?
I love
this.
One
This is
thing.
what we do. Every single night, we sit down with our one thing with each other and we have a conversation. Now, what one thing is Brian goes first. And he shares his one thing that day. For him personally, that was his biggest win. His biggest victory, the thing that was awesome. That's what he starts with. And then he shares his one thing for me, where he says to me, you know what, Carrie, you did this today. Or I watched you in the gym today. I saw you squatting 295 pounds, and I thought to myself, like, she can do anything. God, it inspired me. Right? So he does that. And then I do the same thing. I share my one thing, and then I share one thing for Brian. I'll be like, you know what? I recognize today that this particular pattern, that what used to be there 6 years ago is so gone, and it's so amazing to watch you be so free and live without that strain, right?
Yes.
So sometimes it's journey-based things. Sometimes it's just, you know what, you told me you loved me 48 times today, which Brian counted that yesterday for the fun of it.
I actually articulate, but I want to tell about that in a second. But finish off. Sorry.
So Brian, like we're purposefully choosing to share something that's inspiring with our partner at the end of the day. That means you're going to bed with it. That means no matter what the hell happened during the day, you're finishing on a good note. Watch that start to change the conversation.
But note how much our stuff is uniform. If you're part of the Let's Eliminate Your Limits program, the How to Achieve the Goals You Set, you know counting your wins is like one of our 4 basic exercises. We are just extrapolating this into a relationship setting. And by the way, Chris Kelly, Michelle Adams, Liz Gillinger, you guys know our retreats are based on what we call the concept of one thing. You know what our retreats are? It's 4 days in our life. We bathe you in 4 days of our life, including one thing at the end of the day, with some nice wine, a fireplace, etc.
Oh, it's
magic, right? But here's the thing I want to just highlight what Carrie said. One thing for us in your relationship, for you hopefully starting today, is you enumerate and you share with your spouse the one thing you're most happy with today, the one thing you're most inspired by today, the one thing you did that was the best thing today for you. But then you tell them what you saw was their one thing. You don't complain about Carrie didn't do this right, and Carrie, you told me you were going to do that and you didn't do it. Look, life is life. Sometimes shit doesn't happen. But we are so quick to complain and blame. We are so much less quick to say, this is where you were a superstar today.
Absolutely. And what's happened for us multiple times is like, I'll share something with Brian, or he'll share something with me, and we'll be like, man, you know what? I didn't notice that. And then it becomes an even bigger epiphany for us individually,
exactly.
Right? So look, energy is contagious. Whether you opt to stay in the negative energy or the positive energy, they're both going to be contagiage. So all of you watching today who've enjoyed this, change the conversation today.
That's
do your one thing tonight. Come back and post it on the board on our page and tell us how it went.
You know, yes, Ann Shivas, who's an osteopath, she made a comment a while ago. Hope you're still here, Ann. She said that she often tells her patients that physical pain often starts in the brain. Number one, absolutely. Completely. Without question, that's medically fact. Yep. Okay? But when Carrie says change the conversation, we can be talking about your relationship with your spouse. Mm-hmm. We could be talking about your relationship with your kids, where they're not tidy enough. They don't do their homework hard enough. They don't commit themselves and try as hard as they can. How many times they fucking hear that?
Yep.
How about, hey, Chase, you're a really fucking polite kid, you know that? And I really appreciate that politeness.
Yeah.
My favorite thing, Chase, is taking you out to meet our customers and clients, because I'm proud of you, son. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm proud of the young man you are. You want to see a kid try harder in school?
Yeah.
You want to see him clean up after himself better? You want him to see him do the dishes when you've asked him to? Stop harping on him to do those things.
Yep. And
start shining some light on his heart.
Absolutely.
It falls in line like magic. Absolutely. Like Connie could make us a wand.
Right? A wand.
But I'm telling you, man, I don't care if we're talking about your wife, your kids, your client. Mm-hmm. You want to see behavioral change happen for real? Shine some light on their hearts and stop telling them what they're doing wrong all the time.
Right.
How about that?
Because nobody, I don't care what you say, nobody is inspired by being shamed.
That's right.
Nobody is. So let's create a different story.
100%. I'm almost lost today. These comments, you guys are just fucking epic.
Epic!
Where's my crew?
Crew! You were going to tell the story about why you told me you counted your...
Yes. Okay, so listen carefully. I am not historically... Yes, it's recorded, Teresa. Teresa Hart is brand new.
Yay!
Yes, we're recording right now as we speak. I just said Teresa Hart. Now the whole world's going to hear me say Teresa Hart. So if you come back to this page, Brian and Carrie, here on Facebook, these live episodes, they're here forever.
That's right.
They're being recorded as we're speaking, and it'll be here as a replay whenever you want.
Right.
Okay, so let me tell a story about counting love. Historically, I'm not a very verbal man. Okay, so I am... You know that book, Love Languages, which we love and adore, okay? I am an act of kindness or an act of love kind of guy. Mm-hmm. I go out of my way unconsciously. It's just in my DNA. I create things for Carrie. I do things for Carrie without really kind of compelling myself to do so. It's just natural for me. I do things with and for Carrie that are an expression of my love. But one day years ago, while we were working on our relationship, not in it, Carrie said to me that she's come to realize how she is a verbal person.
Yeah,
that words of affirmation mean more to her heart than anything else. She wasn't slamming me for not being a words guy. She wasn't telling me my acts of love were not important. We were just having an in-depth self-awareness conversation where she was revealing to me that she had realized that words of affirmation were so powerful for her. Mm-hmm. I took that to heart. And as much as it doesn't, if Carrie said, I love you to me, it doesn't provoke the same emotion in me that it does in my wife. And that's a mistake a lot of us make.
Completely.
We think that what works for us, what we feel great about, what showcases or makes us feel love is what our spouse feels, and it's not the case.
Right.
Words of affirmation don't do it for me, but they do it for my wife. So I took it seriously that day. And ever since, well, not ever since, I almost lied there. Right away, after she told me that, I started saying I love you to my wife multiple times a day. But not just, I love you. Okay, gotta go, I love you. Like, I would say it. I would look at her and tell her I loved her. I'd say, and it's like a coined expression now. I'd say, like, I love you in all the ways, Carrie Campbell.
Yeah, I love you in all the ways.
I love you in all the ways, Carrie Campbell. I would say things like that, you know? So, that became a pattern. It became something I unconsciously adopted. I just started saying to Carrie, honestly, authentically, and with with real affect how much I loved her every single day. So oddly, the timing of this episode coincides with yesterday.
Right.
Which was the day I decided to count on a piece of paper how many times I said I loved you to my wife in not just I love you, Carrie, but in certain ways. Including as we drifted off to sleep. As we're drifting off to sleep at night, last night, I'm mumbling, I love you so much, Carrie.
You're actually saying, I love you, Mama.
I love you, Mama.
That's what he
I
calls
love
me.
my Mama.
I
Right?
love you.
So this morning when I woke up, I added the 5 that I said last night before drifting away, and I did an entire count for yesterday. In one 24-hour period, I told my wife in different ways that I loved her 48 times. 48 times. So I'm not saying you have to do that. What is the point of that story? Learn how your spouse, how your client feels and wants love and appreciation expressed to them. Learn it. And then make it a mission to do that. And when you do, it becomes unconscious. Yeah. I don't think to myself, oh, I should tell Carrie I love her. Right. Now it's just all day long. I love you so much, Mama. From downstairs, I'll call up here. Yeah. 48 times a day. Absolutely. You don't think our relationship's in a better place now than it was 3 years ago? Because she hears and feels my love every day. That's a huge point.
Yeah, and I want to add to this one because I actually think that this is a topic that a lot of people can resonate with. So years ago, and I just want to make sure, Eliza just said, you write such beautiful words, which is such an interesting thing, right? His words that he writes, it's an expression of him, so you would think that that's how he expresses love, right? But that doesn't necessarily equate to the same thing, right? So I want to say this, like years ago, before we even understood the depth of this, right? It created a clusterfuck. It really did, insofar as not understanding each other's love languages. So mine is words of affirmation and physical touch. And Brian's is quality time and acts of service. Right?
I could spend 12 hours in a room with Carrie doing nothing, and I would feel loved.
Right. And so I think that the mistake that people make is that it's not a mistake to give love the way you want to receive love, because that's kind of a natural disposition, right? I naturally would text Brian like 100 times a day and say, I love you, and he'd be like, could you stop texting me? And no
it's
shit.
True.
But like no shit. Like I would be hurt by that.
Yeah.
But I was hurt by that because that was my expression of love, right?
Yeah.
And I wasn't aware of that back then, right? Sure. So we express love the way we want to receive it. Once we start to understand how our partner receives love, then we can express it that way, and what ends up happening is that they in turn express it back to you the way that you need it. But like when Brian and I first got together, our only form of communication was through messages, right?
Yeah, right.
So you all know how he writes.
Yeah.
I got these beautiful words, and it was so powerful. My world was like, I was just like swimming in it. And like 6 months after you moved in, when I was in the middle of a hairy conniption fit one day, I was like, you never send me messages anymore. And he was like confused.
I was confused because I'm here now.
And
you can touch me every day.
Right. And I remember your language used to be like, but babe, like I moved across the country for you. Like I'm here with you every day. And I couldn't relate because I don't feel love that way.
And I couldn't relate to why she couldn't relate.
Right.
I'd be like, I moved my life on a whim.
Yeah.
From Chicago to Montreal to be with you. How much more expressive could that possibly be? You want me to write you a poem?
And I was like, yes, I want the words, right? And so it's so important to understand that you're not going to be able to relate. But I can't relate to why it makes Brian feel loved if I take the garbage out and save him from doing it. But it does, because it shows a consideration of thinking about him, right? Understand each other.
Absolutely. Cynthia Goldman, I don't know if I recognize your name. Welcome to Brian and Carrie in the Morning. Hearing you guys talk about saying I love you reminds me of my husband. And I do the same thing daily, and it makes my heart glow to know how much my husband loves me. And I can feel my heart swell with love. What a beautiful comment. So, guys, let me just also say this. You know how we... this is a game changer for Robin.
Cha-ching!
Woo! Let me say this. Do the same thing with your kids if you have kids. Absolutely. Kids are different. They don't express love the same way. And we have 2 kids, and they're different. Maya is 100% down the line. Boom, staka laka laka, a little Carrie. Which means words and physical touch. If I hug Maya, her world is better. If I tell Maya, I love you, sweetheart, I love you, baby girl, you should see the fucking smile that erupts across her face. Whereas if she says to me, Bubby, I love you so much, I'm like, I know, what the fuck? You have to fucking tell me you love me, I know. But like, but then Chase, our near 14-year-old, physical touch, which for a teenage boy is quite uncommon. He loves to cuddle. Yeah. He loves to embrace. He loves to bury his head right here in my chest, and I can tell he loves feeling safe, but he loves being a man with Mama because he's taller than Carrie now. So he puts his arms around her neck and pulls her in close. He's such a good boy. Oh, I missed the kids.
Can I tell you a quick story this morning? So words of love, right? This morning as we were leaving, I was hugging Chase, and I said, "You're such a beautiful boy." And he said to me in my ear, "You're such a beautiful woman."
He did say that. It was precious. And being that you're a words person.
It was like...
what a beautiful thing. Ruth Goodwin, who I adore, is here. She says words and physical touch for her as well. John is acts of service, and that doesn't do it for me. We get it.
Yeah.
We get it. We relate to each other. Go ahead.
Last point about this. Don't go telling your spouse, start loving on me more this way. Start loving on them the way they need to hear
loved.
it, and you watch it come back your way.
100% yes. By the way, Caitlin Graham is here. I saw you chime in earlier, but we were rolling on this topic. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to say good morning. She did, however, and I memorized this way back when she first chimed on. She said she loves the way this little setting looks.
I dig this setting too. It's cozy. Awesome.
Awesome. Well, guys, listen, we could have gone on.
Yeah.
Truth is, this could have been a 4-hour show. We didn't even talk much about clients or self, but how about we do some of that tomorrow?
Let's do it.
Would you guys like us to carry on this love conversation as it relates relationship-wise with your clients as well as yourself? We'll cover both tomorrow if you like that idea. I'm going to wait for you guys to chime in to see if you like that.
Absolutely.
And while you're chiming in, I want to say this. Where my crew at?
Sorry, Chris. Chris just made me laugh because Chris just asked me if Chase went to the party.
That's from last night. That was fucking hysterical. We're going to the party now.
Oh, that was so funny. Robin and Camley, I'm assuming, how do you figure that out? You're referencing the love languages. There's actually a book called The 5 Love Languages by Gary Coleman, I believe.
Look up in the comments. Yeah. Chris Goldowski and Sandy Weinberg both put the name of the book and the author. Yeah. Easy to find on Amazon. Yes. Oh, Robin, yes, love. You guys aren't done, but we want you to come back tomorrow. So are we all good tomorrow? Here's the way it's going to shape out. Tomorrow, for sure, is going to be relationships and love with your clients and yourself. Okay? Enhancing that relationship, which is a nuance a lot similar and some dissimilar to what we talked about today. Fucked Up Friday this week is going to be fashion show.
Fucked Up Friday fashion show. Yes! Wonder Woman!
You guys are the best crew in the world. We love you so much.
Mwah.
Have a beautiful day. Woo!
Hold on, everybody.